Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Episode number 39. It's Ronsley, and I'm talking with Phil McGregor, who I've known for a long time. And we talk about that in the conversation, but mainly he's got this amazing artificial intelligence app called Popularise. Popularise.app. It is spelled with an S the right way, without the Z or Z, depending on which part of the world you're in. I'm not a fan, obviously, of all these English spellings being different, especially because English was invented in a different country and America changes all these words irrelevant. But today we're talking about Popularise.app. It's an amazing artificial intelligence app that connects into your website and tells you how to make sure you rank higher, how to make sure that people find your stuff, and how to do that in small bite-sized pieces. It's amazing because it does all the work for you, and all you got to do is look at the task that it gives you, because they break down the task into small little bite-sized manageable tasks that you can keep taking off, and then you can finally get your SEO sorted for your website. This is by far one of the most useful and most profitable things you can do for your business, because if you get found, you're way more trustworthy than someone who has to convince someone else that you are the right person. So come, let's learn.
Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to this podcast, My AI Love Affair. Consider this podcast your digital compass, guiding you through the labyrinth that is business growth using artificial intelligence. Running a business as a creative can sometimes be like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But what if you had a secret tool that could align all the colors for you? That is AI. It's like a master key unlocking multiple doors. Thanks for being here. Let's learn. Phil McGregor, welcome to the show. This is, I don't know how many times you've done this podcast with me, but you spoke at the first We Are podcast conference back in 2013 at the Gold Coast. So our relationship goes, I don't know, over a decade now. Welcome to the show. This is exciting because you're now into AI, and I'd love to know how this whole transformation happened and when you came into the AI world and what made that transition happen.
I was the Facebook guru, helping people to drive traffic to their podcast. So as you get more relationships they get, the better things go. And that was actually a really fun experience. And I really appreciated the invite. Thank you very much. The nature of that concept is like, since then is at that time, like when I did that talk with you guys, I did a test and like how much money would $1 reach for people on Facebook? And, it's like the cost of one postage stamp. And the answer was like 500 people for $1. And fast forward to now, and it's like 20, maybe 10 sort of people. And so somewhere in that journey, I realized that was happening. I was getting harder and harder and harder to get any real kind of effective bang for your buck to pay for it. And so then I sort of thought that's what SEO is, right? Like, how do you get more people to come at you for free? And therefore, you can enjoy the same kind of program. There's only one small problem was I was not an an SEO expert. And so I kind of had to go find like solutions for that. And the only real solutions were agencies, and they're going to charge you like $1,000 or $2,000 a month. And so then I sort of had the bright idea of trying to like get AI to do it, to be that expert. So you weren't relying on humans. And so that was the journey for me. So I went and found some people who are good at both AI and SEO, and then invested in that company and brought it up. And that's where I'm up to today. And like, as you can tell with your podcast, right? Like AI is just going so fast. It's getting to that point where, humans are still better, but AI is good enough. And so that's why I love this little platform is you can get an expert without having to pay for, the privilege.
Yeah. And your platform is amazing. I've played with it. We've seen what it looks like and what it can do, and I'm excited to get into it. Let's just talk about your thesis on AI. So what do you believe so far? Where have you come from? What is the idea behind what you're trying to create? Because not only AI is good enough right now, it's probably going to be the biggest conversation of our lifetime. And it's interesting to hear where you see the world and the way you see AI developing.
I love understanding the actual kind of the engineering behind it as well. And I believe that once you kind of get that stuff on it, you can then use it better and understanding it, all that sort of stuff. And I'm not just doing AI for SEO, I'm doing it for like stocks and all sorts of stuff. Like you're right. It's this wonderful time to be alive. I'm really enjoying that concept, that getting deep into the heart of AI. And the deeper you go, the more you can really see how incredibly powerful this thing is.
The way AI is functioning right now, it's like a magic trick and it looks really cool. And we can replicate the magic tricks in a lot of instances. But then how do we get to apply that magic to our business? And that's what your tool does in a very beautiful way.
So at its heart, it does what a human can do. Like it's a bit like teaching somebody else to do it, except in this instance, it's a neural network that can achieve it. But because it's not a person, it can do it 24/7, right? And so what we did was we integrated it with other platforms like Google Analytics, Search Console, these sorts of data sources that it can watch and understand. And when you consider that concept of understanding, that is the true power, is that once it understands, it can then go, aha, here's what needs to happen next. And there's plenty of SEO platforms out there, but you have to be an expert to use them. And if you do use them, they don't really check what you did. Like that's the kind of the next level, is the almost accountability that AI can go, is AI looks at these data sources, looks at what you've done and what you've created, and then looks at what people did to get there in the first place, and then how they interacted with it. And you put all that together in a magical kind of box, and it comes out and says, hey, you need to do, this is where the best bang for buck's going to come from for you, and where you're going to jump up. And every time we do that process, it doubles the traffic within months, like the organic traffic. And I think that's incredible.
Well, what is the tool called and where can we find it? And if you can share your screen, that would be amazing so we can see what it looks like. Because with AI, it's one of those things that the more you can see what it does, the better understanding you have of how it operates.
Yeah. So the tool is called Popularise. The website's Popularise.app. The nature of it is you only really have to understand what you do, and then it'll kind of take that and run with it. And so I've created a situation where you just have to basically follow the bouncing ball. What I mean by that is this is the We Are podcast, your website. And so it's analyzed the entire website and it's come up with a bunch of information. And all you really need to understand is whether it kind of feels right or not. And so for We Are podcast, for example, listenership, that's one of the keywords it's come up with, that it's saying this might be something that you want to kind of talk about a little bit. And we know that because your competitors are talking about it. It can analyze what everybody else is doing and say, hey, maybe you should do this too. And so you become the best of all your competitors, which makes you better than all of them individually. And the last part is difficulty. Like some keywords are just, everybody's already worked out and they're just going hard and it's going to be very difficult. It's going to take some time to kind of beat them or outperform them at least. But then some of them haven't really thought about it too hard. And listenership, for example, has a volume of 110,000 people searching for it a month. And the difficulty is low, which means nobody's really talking about listenership, which might seem obvious to you, but AI can go through that and go, hey, check this out. You might want to focus over here. And so with the platform, all you have to do as the operator is tick that button and add it in. And then from that point on, the system will then give you a series of tasks. And all you have to do is go through the list and it'll tell you how long each task takes roughly to do. And just go through what it tells you to do and just action every single one of them. And as I was saying before, if you do that, your traffic will double just straight up within a few months. You'll start to see an increase straight away if you're not doing SEO already. But a lot of people don't know a single thing about SEO. And so what we've done is we've created a situation where it can educate you too. It can answer what needs to be done, why it's important, how to do it. It'll give links to articles on how to do it. It'll show other people doing it.
I was totally blown away when you showed it to me the first time, but now even more and more, where every time I see it, because of the amount of tasks that it has, and also based on how it arrived at those tasks, it's made it so easy to make it into bite-sized pieces so that you can actually action them one at a time.
You can even use the content wizard, for example, to help you write it, the thing that needs to be changed. You don't even have to be like eloquent. The system can help you with that sort of stuff too. But we wanted to take it even further. And so the next step is to get AI to watch like journalists and content publishers and see what sort of things they're doing. So what I always say is that SEO is the best place to start in AI. If you're going to do an AI journey, SEO is a great place to start because it's going to give you those people that you can use all those AI tools on. And there's no point kind of doing it if you've got no one to do it for.
What are the other areas that AI is applied when it comes to Popularize? But if you can tell us how Popularize uses AI in the different ways.
My favorite is competitor analysis. So AI can watch what your competitors are doing. So we put in a couple of competitors for We Are Podcast, for example, and it can go and it can just watch, just constantly watching what those guys are doing. And if they're doing really well at something, then maybe we should be doing really well at something too. And I think that's really powerful because that's the whole point of business, is to outperform your competition. Other things we can do is strategy. So if you understand that your brain is what you need to get out to the world, when people align with your brain and how you think and feel and do your business, then that's where people buy. Right?
So Popularise.app is where you go. Phil, what's the best way for someone to start? So when they come to Popularise.app, what do you want them to do and how can they get started?
Yeah, if they're still a little bit unsure or they don't quite know what to do, just book in a call with me. I'll take them through this process. I'll explain it a lot better than the 15 minutes we've got, and show them how it kind of really applies to their business. And even if they've already got SEO running, it can even be a tool to kind of check the performance of the people they're working for. Or it depends what they need. So I'm happy to help. Essentially, just book a call, and I'll come to the party.
Amazing. So Phil, we looked at Popularize. You're using AI in all these ways. And at the start of the conversation, you mentioned you're using AI for stocks and what a good time it is to be alive. I'd love to know where else you're using AI, how you're using AI. And also, if someone's just listening, like what are the ways that you can just start to play to understand AI better?
That's a really good question. So I'm also a bit of a dreamer as well. And one of the questions I wanted to ask is, can I get AI to predict the future? And how good is it at doing that? And so one of the best areas to achieve that is actually in cryptocurrency. And we have, like, it's on all the time. It's all fully transparent and visible, and we can actually see the future. This is something I don't think many people have really thought about too hard. But if you think about the nature of buying and selling, typically what you do is you make an order and then somebody fills it. And once they filled it, you then own it. But at the point of making the order, you're foreshadowing what you're about to do. And if you can imagine that, like, a million people all doing it, that creates a fairly decent sized data set. And if you can then understand that data set, you can then get AI to go understand what's happening now. And so before the market has fulfilled the order, we can tell what's about to happen based on that kind of that data set. And that's actually really exciting.
You mentioned data sets and data analysis. I wonder whether you have other ways that you're using AI to analyze data.
So this is the age old question. Is the market going up or is the market going down? If you can answer that, you will be a billionaire. Like, it's a simple question, really hard to answer. I haven't perfected it yet, but getting AI to, and you can't just look at price. Like I was saying, you've got orders, even a tweet from Elon Musk will affect it, right? So you've got all of this information coming in the form of data sets. And if you put it together in the right way with a machine that can learn, has anybody talked to you about the Minecraft learning model? They got a whole bunch of influencers, people who play Minecraft and share it on YouTube. They put it into AI and got AI to watch, right, to learn. And then they said, without giving it any instruction, build me a diamond pickaxe. And the machine couldn't do it. Right? But nobody ever talks about the steps to achieve it. Everyone just knows kind of how to do it. And so it wasn't very successful. But then what they did is they themselves, the researchers, created their own videos of how to mine dirt, how to chop down a tree. You click this button 20 times, like they actually made their own channel essentially, and then fed that into it. And then said, now build me a diamond pickaxe, without actually giving it that exact how-to step-by-step instruction. And the machine did it, and it did it just as fast as a human, without any actual, here's how to make it, just here's the knowledge in total and go get it. And so instantly it was as good as a human doing exactly the same task. And so the next step for me for AI is that concept too, whether it's financial stocks or SEO or whatever, is let's give it like the influencers on YouTube even. Let's pour all that information in, give it our little instructions and set it off. And what can't we achieve doing that? That's kind of my question to everyone listening is, what can't we achieve if we put all of that together?
I keep talking about on the show how we have human intelligence, and if we can augment that with artificial intelligence and then align that with divine intelligence, then we have a nice ethical framework that we can use to operate using AI, because that's going to be another thing to figure out is like, where are the boundaries? Let's think about what we're creating here is because we don't have any ethical boundaries, but humans are not necessarily the right people to create ethical boundaries because we don't really have a great track record of having ethics.
This is a really good question. I don't have the answers, but certainly I hope we work it out quickly. It is very exciting. I don't think we can actually conceive it. How it is we do is if you give it to marketers, they'll ruin everything.
Marketers ruin everything. That's a common phrase we've heard a lot. Well, Phil, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for creating this beautiful app, Popularise.app. It's just phenomenal at the functionality and what it does, and then breaking it up into bite sizes so that anyone can execute is even more powerful. So thank you. I love catching up with you and hearing what entrepreneurs are up to these days, and especially in this new world.
Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to aigeeks.co/Discord. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI Geek. Until then, much love.